Good morning, dear students. Today we will discuss question answers of chapter 9. Chapter 9 is living organisms and their surroundings. In previous video, I discussed back exercise and some question answers. Okay. So I had discussed the question answers of part E, F and G. But I would like to revise them first. Then I will start with the long answer type questions. Part E, that is explain the differences between the following. First is movement and locomotion. Okay, this is movement. Here I have written about locomotion. So let's start with movement. Movement simply means act of moving. Okay, when we can say that any movement has occurred, movement is a broad term. Okay, it includes both change in position and no change in position. Let me make it simple. Change in position means when any person has moved from one place to another, so we say that there is change in position. For example, I am standing here. If I move from here to this place, so you can see earlier I was there, but now I am here. So when I can say that there is change in position when any person moves from one place to another. So then we can say that movement has occurred. Okay. Next is no change in position. No change in position means like I am standing here, but while explaining the answer to you, I am using my lips are moving, and you can see there is some movement in my hands also. My hands, my fingers, okay, my head is also moving. So no change in position means only the body parts, they are showing the movement, okay, and the person is not moving from one place to another. The person is at the same place, but there is movement in the parts of the body. At that time also we will say that movement has occurred. Okay. Next is locomotion. This is movement of an organism from one place to another. If a person moves from one place to another, we say that there is locomotion. Okay. But like I am standing here explaining to you, so this is movement. Okay. So, but if I am moving from one place to another, then also I can say that there is, I am moving, or I can say that there is locomotion. Okay. So the movement is a broader term. It includes locomotion also. But locomotion is movement of an organism from one place to another. So there will be locomotion only when the person is moving from one place to another. If there is no change in the position, then there is no locomotion. Okay. Coming back to movement, once again it includes both change in position and no change in position. So if I am standing here explaining you can see some movements in my body parts. Okay. Then also I will say movement has occurred. If I will move from here to there to another place, then also I will say that some movement has occurred. Okay. Or I can say the person is moving. So I hope the difference between the movement and locomotion is clear. Now coming to the autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs are the organisms that can make their own food. If we talk about the examples, we know that plants can make their own food, so plants are called autotrophs. Next is heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are the organisms that are dependent on others for their food. For example, we human beings, we are dependent on plants and animals for our food. So we are heterotrophs. Next is living and non-living organisms. Let's try to understand the difference between living and the non-living things. If we talk about the examples of the living things like human beings, many animals, plants, we all are the living organisms. Okay. If we talk about this marker, pen, phone, mobile phone, this whiteboard and the building, these are non-living things. Okay. How we can differentiate between living things and non-living things? Let's try to understand. On the basis of some characteristics, we differentiate the living things from the non-living things. So let's try to understand in detail. First is living things, they grow. Living things grow. If you will see any child, if the baby who has taken birth, you will see that after a few months you will feel the growth in that. Okay. After a few years you will see that there is increase in height, increase in the weight of that baby. Okay, so we see the continuous growth in the humans. But if in plants also you can see, first we sow the seed in the soil, we provide water, manure and the sunlight to that. Then after a few days we get a seedling. Okay, seedling means the young plant that has just come out of the seed. After few days, you will see that the seedling has turned into a plant, and after a long time, you will see that the plant has turned into a big tree. Okay. So in the living organisms, we see growth. But if we talk about the non-living things, they cannot grow. If you see the table, chair present around you, okay, so you will notice that even after few months or even after years, you will see that there is no growth in them. The shape and size remains same. Okay. Now coming to next, they reproduce. Living things reproduce. What is the meaning of this? Reproduction means the process by which the living organisms, they produce young ones of its own kind. For example, human beings, the mother, in case of human beings, mother gives birth to a baby. Okay. If you take the example of the elephant, so elephant, it gives birth to a baby elephant. Okay. So the reproduction means producing young ones of its own kind. Plants also reproduce. Okay. Plants, they can reproduce either with the help of the seeds or any other plant part. Okay. Now, non-living things. Non-living things, they do not reproduce. If you take the example of any non-living thing like building, marker, book, notebook, do they produce young ones of its own kind? No. So the non-living things, they do not reproduce. Next is, living things need food for their survival. Yes, food is very important for the survival of living things. But the non-living things, they do not need any food. Next is, living things, they excrete waste products. Living things, they excrete waste products, and this process of removing the waste products from the body, this process is known as the excretion. But if we talk about the non-living things, in the non-living things, no waste products are formed, and no, there is no excretion in the non-living things. Next is, living things respire. What is the respiration? Respiration is the process in which the inhaled oxygen, it is utilized by the cells of the body so as to produce energy from the food, okay, that we eat. So this process is known as respiration. But in case of the non-living things, they do not need any food, okay, and they do not respire. Next is, after this, next is part F, give reason. In case of construction of a building, we find every day the height of the building goes on increasing. Can it be called a living thing? Okay, think once, can we call it a living thing? There is, a building is being constructed, and there is, every day there is increase in the height of building. Now tell me, is it a living thing? No. Answer is no. Building is a non-living thing, because the living things, they have many such characteristics because of which they are different from the non-living things. Okay, here the building, it is showing the growth of it is showing only the characteristics of the growth, and that growth is also because of the external factors, like we are using the materials, bricks, cement, sand, and human labor, because of which there is increase in the height of the building while construction. Okay, but this building, it is not showing any other characteristics of the living things like reproduction, requirement of food, excretion, respiration. Building is not showing any of these characteristics. So, building is only showing the characteristics of growth, and that is also external. Okay, building is not showing any other characteristics of the living beings. So, building is a non-living thing. Next is, speed is important for the survival of animals that live in grasslands. Yes, speed is important for the animals that live in grasslands. But before this, I want to explain two terms, predators and prey. Predators are the animals that kill other animals for their food. For example, a lion kills a deer. Okay, so in this case, lion is a predator and deer is a prey. P-R-E-Y, prey. Prey means shikar. Okay, so the lion has killed deer so as to eat him. So lion is predator and deer is prey. So speed is important for predators also and for prey also. Speed helps predator in catching their prey, and speed, it also helps prey animals in so as to help him in escaping themselves from the predators. Okay, speed also helps these prey animals in escaping themselves from the predators. Next is, stomata are important for the leaves. We have studied about the stomata just in the beginning, that stomata are the very minute pores usually found on the lower sides of the leaves. Okay, they help in the gaseous exchange. Okay, and they also help in releasing the excess amount of water from the plants in form of water vapors into the atmosphere. Next is part G. Through which part of the body fish absorbs oxygen? So the answer is gills. Identify and name the characteristic of life which expressed in bold. The crow lays eggs in its nest. This is showing the reproduction property. Okay, because crow has laid eggs. Okay, so yeah, after some times young ones will come out of it. So here reproduction characteristics of the living being has been shown. Next is Pooja has grown taller than her mother. So here growth characteristic has been shown. Next is what do you mean by the excretion? Excretion is the process in which extra waste products are removed from the body. Next is which of the things in the following list are non-living? So here I am only taking the name of the non-living things. Plow, sewing machine, radio and boat. Here these are the non-living things. Mushroom, water, hyacinth and earthworm. These are living things. Water, hyacinth, this is a flowering plant. Next is which of the non-living things listed below were once part of our living thing? So I am just telling the answers. Butter. Butter is obtained from the milk and milk is obtained from animals. So butter was once, it was a part of living thing. Next is leather. Leather is obtained from the skin of some animals. Next is wool. Wool is obtained from the sheep. Cooking oil. We know, for example, mustard oil. We know that mustard oil we get from the mustard seeds. Okay, and these seeds we get from the plants. Apple. Apple is obtained from the apple plant. And rubber. Rubber is also obtained from rubber plant. Now, let's start with long answer type questions. First is, draw a label diagram of stomata. What is its importance for the plants? Stomata are the very minute pores, or we can say these are the very small pores present in the leaves. Usually, stomata are found on the lower side of the leaves. These stomata present in the leaves, they help in the gaseous exchange. For example, we know that during the process of the photosynthesis, plants, they take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and they release oxygen in the atmosphere. Okay, so how this gaseous exchange takes place in the plants? Through the stomata present in leaves. And the stomata, they also help in releasing the water from the plants in form of the water vapors in the atmosphere. Explain with an example what is meant by living things respond to stimuli. Okay, what is the meaning of the stimuli? If there is any change in our surroundings, okay, then it is known as stimuli. For example, it will be clear with the examples like when you touch any sharp object, we immediately withdraw our hand. Okay, and if we touch any hot object, then also we immediately draw our hand back. Okay, so what is this? These are responses to the stimulus. What was the stimulus? Is sharp object, hot object. Okay, and the animals, they also show the response to the stimulus. For example, sometimes you might have noticed if you flash light towards the cockroach, that runs away. Okay, and if we talk about the plants, they also respond to the stimuli. For example, mimosa plant. If you touch the leaves of the mimosa plant, you will notice that the leaves gets curled up. Okay, so here touching the leaves of the mimosa plant, it is stimulus, and curling up of the leaves of the mimosa plant, it is the response of the plant. So all the living things, they respond to the stimuli. All living beings take in oxygen. What function does oxygen perform in the body? All living beings, yes, they take in oxygen, and this is very important for us. We know that the oxygen inhaled, it is utilized by the cells of the body so as to obtain energy from the food through the process of respiration. Next is, are you an autotroph or a heterotroph? Explain why. I take the example of myself. I am a heterotroph because I am dependent on plants and animals for my food. For example, I consume milk that is obtained from the animals. We eat wheat, rice, etc. that are obtained from the plants. So I am dependent on the plants and animals for my food. So I am heterotroph. How is fish adapted for the aquatic life? We know that fish, they have streamlined body. Streamlined body means which is broad in the middle and narrow at the ends. So the streamlined shape, it helps fish to swim in the water easily. Next is the fish, they have gills which help them in breathing underwater. If we talk about the fins and the fishes, they also have fins that also help them in swimming. Fish, they also have scales on their body which makes them waterproof. How does frog adapt for both aquatic and terrestrial life? We know that frogs, they can live both on land and also in water. On the land, frog, they breathe with the help of gills, and in water they breathe with the help of the moist skin. And the frogs, they have webbed feet which help them swim easily in the water. Webbed feet means the toes of the frog, they are joined by the skin. Next are picture based questions. Study the picture of a water plant given alongside and answer the following questions. Which part of the plant helps it to the float? So the answer is leaves, because leaves have the air chambers which help him to float. The leaves of this plant are waxy. How do they help the plant? The leaves, they have the waxy coating which prevents the leaves from the rotting. Study the picture of a cactus shown alongside. Which adaptation helps the plant to minimize the loss of water? So the answer is needle-like leaves. Next is look at the picture given alongside and answer. Name the animal which is shown in the picture. You can see it's white in color. It's polar bear. How is it adapted to live in the polar region? Polar bears, they live in polar regions where the climate is very cold. Polar bears, they have thick layer of fur on their body, and they also have a thick layer of fat under the skin which help him to survive in the very cold climate of the polar regions. Name two other animals which are also present in this region. So the answer is yak, yak and penguin. Next is horse questions. How do the deserts plants conserve the available water in their body? Deserts plants, we know that in the deserts there is water level is found at very low level, and in the deserts there is very less rainfall. There is shortage of water in the deserts. So the what type of plants we see in the deserts? They are known as xerophytes. Okay, because the water is found at very low level below the ground, so the roots of the desert plants, they are very long so that they can go deeper in the soil in search of water. Next is the stems of these plants. Stems of these deserts plants, they have a waxy coating which avoids the water loss, and the stems are thick and fleshy so as to store food and water. And the leaves, in case of the desert plants, either they are absent or they are very small in size. And these desert plants, they have fewer stomata. They have very few stomata, and they also open only during night. So this is how these deserts plants, they survive in deserts. Next is how do the desert animal adapt to be in desert and survive successfully? If we talk about the animals, then what name comes to your mind when we talk about the desert animals? So that is camel. Camel has very long legs which keeps his body away from the heat of the sand. And the camels, they also have the leathery sole which help him to walk on the sand easily. And the camels, they also have a hump, so they store the fat in the hump. Okay, so this was about, and the camels, they can drink a large amount of water at a time which help him to survive without water for a long time. Next is rats and snakes. They are also found in the deserts, but their body structure is totally different from the camels. Then how do they survive? So the rats and the snake, they make burrows. Okay, here in your book you can see. Here you can see these are the burrows. You can see these tunnels underground. Okay, these are burrows. So the rats and the snakes, they make burrows. During the daytime they remain in the burrows, and they come out during the night time when it is cooler outside. Okay, so like this, the desert animals, they survive in the deserts. So dear students, this is all for today, and here chapter 9 is complete. Thank you.